Hi, so this video is about the Minoans and the ancient Egyptians, so how they played their part in Egyptian history. Well, the Minoans lived on the island of Crete, and that was settled and established in 2600 BCE, so contemporary with the Old Kingdom. And I think that the Minoans travelled there from mainland Greece. I think it was an uninhabited island. There were lots of them around that area, especially around the Mediterranean. So I'm imagining that the first Greeks landed there and thought, well, there's chaos and mayhem on the mainland. We can make a great society here. So 2600 BC. Now, to give you a rough idea, it will be another 800 years before the kingdom of Mycenae becomes powerful in Greece. So the Greeks are living in settlements on the mainland, and it's pretty harsh times, I should imagine. Neighbour fighting neighbour for resources. They've gone from being a Paleolithic people to Neolithic people, learning how to farm on the land, and they're engaged in warfare. They fight each other for about 800 years. All the Greeks seem to do is live in a landscape with limited resources, fight each other, become good professional soldiers and sailors, and then go out and try and conquer everyone. So that's the Greeks. But we're looking at the Minoans. So they were established during the Old Kingdom, and then we've got contact with the Minoans during the Middle Kingdom. And on the island of Crete, there's no reason to think that they did not have access to silver. It's a mountainous terrain. There's evidence of mining on the island. Maybe they were mining silver. And remember how important silver is to the ancient Egyptians. It's the semen of the gods. What other things were the Minoans offering the Egyptians? Probably olive oil. And oil in the ancient world is a good moisturizer for your skin. You can cook with it, and you can get light with it when it gets dark. So it's quite a universal product. And there's no evidence at that time that the Egyptians were growing olives in Egypt during that time. So olive oil was a real bonus. What are the Minoans getting from the Egyptians? Well, papyrus paper to write on, very useful, but more importantly, grain. Okay, so they're getting access to trade for wheat and barley. And you remember on the island of Crete, there's not great green areas of cultivation. The Minoans were famous for the myth of the Minotaur bull, a half man, half bull living under the palace of Knossos. In reality, these are most probably sailor tales, tales that sailors tell each other, and they overhear or see something, and within 100 years it's been turned round. You have to remember that stories were a form of entertainment in the ancient world. No doubt the Minoans were dominating their counterparts on the Greek mainland, because the Greeks on the mainland were so disorganized, fighting, squabbling, developing. And the tale of the Minotaur is that it's fed young innocent girls. So we can imagine that the Minoans were going to the Greek states and dominating them for young women. And what was the purpose of that? Well, if you look at the pictures, which were once in the palace, it seems that the Minoans had a ritual. We don't know if it was once a year, once every 2 years. We're not sure the frequency of it. But in the main palace, there was a huge plaza, and they had a ball run. So the young men would have to prove themselves virile and fit and healthy, and they would have to jump a ball. Those who succeeded got married, and those who didn't died. So that was probably the actual facts of the Minotaur myth. So the Minoans probably had a good relationship with the ancient Egyptians. There's evidence of Minoan frescoes in parts of Lower Egypt. So maybe they had a settlement or a trading station there. Maybe they established the city of Alexandria way before Alexander the Great came along. And when he rolled in, that was where the trading port was going to grow into the great city of Alexandria. Maybe that was the reason. But there seems to be good relationships between the Minoans and the ancient Egyptians up to this point in the Middle Kingdom. In the New Kingdom, things change. People start moving. And one of the problems that the Egyptians had was this confederation that they called the Sea Peoples. Now, the Sea Peoples could have been the refugees from the Hittite Empire, people from the Greek states who had ships, and maybe they were all heading towards Egypt, the land of milk and honey, because that's certainly what it was, a land of surpluses. I'm betting that the Minoans, who were in Egypt for quite a while up to that point, so probably over 1,000 years, assisted the Egyptians by defending the country against the Sea Peoples. Because the Egyptians were sailors who sailed along the coast. They weren't particularly that great at warfare on land, unless they were in big numbers. So it's a specialty to fight at sea, and I think that at that time, during the New Kingdom, during the times of Ramesses III, where he defeated the Sea Peoples in the estuaries of Lower Egypt, I think there were Egyptianized Minoans who had the skills and techniques to sail those ships and defeat the Sea Peoples. So that's the Minoans in relation to the ancient Egyptians. Their civilization came to an end on the island abruptly in 1400 BCE. We don't know why. We don't know if the volcano on the island was active and if it blew up and wiped out the population. We don't know if the island Santorini, the ash clouds and fireballs hit Crete and damaged their crops as well. We just don't know. Archaeology is an expensive avenue to recover primary data, and in its modern form, it's only been going for about 150 years. So there's still lots of work to do, and it's expensive, and it relies on the public and public interest to fund it. And at the moment, we had the Olympic Games in the UK, and that's where all the funding got diverted into that. And heavily engaged in experiences. People want experiences and wealth, and archaeology is suffering because of that. But one day it will come back round. But at the moment, this is the data that we have available. I hope you've enjoyed this information video on the Minoans and their relationship with the ancient Egyptians. Please press the subscribe button, and that will help this site gain a channel domain. You take care out there, these difficult times, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.